I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the board meeting of 9/29.
All right, motion made by
Second.
Commissioner Delano, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, the minutes are approved. Consent agenda. Is there anything that anyone would like to, approval of the agenda?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda as presented.
All right.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, now the consent agenda. Would anyone like anything removed for further discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Delano.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Vetch. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Our first timed item, right on time, 9:02, we have the Wright County Emerging Leaders and Administration. Did you have this on the agenda, or we have representatives here for Emerging Leaders, so please introduce yourselves and share your story.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners, County Administrator. My name is Erin Baker. I'm a social worker with Wright County Health and Human Services.
And I'm Kara Campa. I'm also a social worker with Wright County Human Services.
We're here along with Ryan Cotilla as well to kind of present on behalf of the Emerging Leaders Program 2020 for Wright County, looking to, as part of our program, as well as developing ourselves as future leaders for the county, encouraging growth not only for ourselves but for the rest of our departments here across the county as well as the county as a whole. We've taken on looking to execute a community project as part of our program. Currently right now, myself and 17 other participants have kind of come to a consensus to execute a food drive of sorts under the hashtag Season of Giving. As we all understand, kind of with the way 2020 has been and is unpredictable as it has been, the need for celebrating the holidays to its fullest has not gone away. We could even say that there might be a little bit more out there that we could possibly do and step into that void. So we're looking to establish a food drive to take up donations to help with holiday baking. As local food shelves, we're working with them as well in coordination with this effort, as local food shelves don't necessarily, they provide the staples, but they don't provide those extras like being able to make cookies with your family, pies and other things over the Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday season. So that's what we've taken on trying to do, whether that be through monetary donations made directly to the food shelves, or whether that is through a coordinated food drive effort here with Wright County employees as well as the Wright County community at large. So we're hoping today that is something that we can have the blessing and of the county board to move forward with.
Well, thank you, and this isn't a designated Wright County committee, I guess, as it were, but it's or I should say an official committee, but certainly, appreciate your efforts to step up and to provide this, service and to get, more people in the county involved to recognize really what's been going on with the community. So I appreciate that.
Madam Chair, I don't know if we need a motion, but I'll support them going forward with this. I think it's a great idea.
I think making a motion would be in order.
So moved.
All right.
I will second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Delano, seconded by Commissioner Vetch. Is there any discussion on this?
Madam Chair, I do have a couple
Delighted.
questions.
Yes, Commissioner.
Will you guys be accepting, frozen food, like those tubes of cookies that are pre-made? For people like Charlie, they can't bake. They can follow directions for the most part, but they can't bake. They can't mix the stuff.
He's got a toaster oven.
Understood, Commissioner DeLuca, and thank you so much for asking. I appreciate it. At this time, from what we understand from the local food shelves that we'll be working with, is they're hoping for non-perishables and items that don't necessarily need to be refrigerated.
Okay, so just
Okay.
so the sugars, the flour,
Yep,
chocolate chips, or
already pre-made tubes of frosting,
Canned
cookie
goods.
cutters,
Okay.
decorative sugars, and things like that.
We might get a volunteer to just make cookies for him. That might be better than the frozen dough.
We might.
They're hard to eat with the mask on.
Absolutely.
Potter keeps giving me donuts and stuff, and then I can't even eat them,
And Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Rea.
and one thing I really hope that people help out with stepping up in is really the paper goods. Because the food shelves are really, really short on the paper goods, and the cost of buying them in the stores is exuberant. I mean, we know that a six-pack of paper towel is $10.50, and the grocery stores can't even get it for retail purposes, so food shelves have even more limited access to those.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because it's difficult for any of us to get them in stores. So, certainly in the food shelves, if we can get a pack and bring one over there, be good.
Madam Chair, one
Commissioner
other
Glyden.
question. Are you gonna put out boxes or baskets through the county, areas, or what is your plan on how to get this done?
I think right now preliminarily, our idea is to kind of at every county building, put a large box for the community to donate, as well as for Wright County employees to donate at, and then the members of the Emerging Leaders Group would help to kind of collect that and sort it. So, yes, we will be putting out bins for the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you so
motion
much.
passed unanimously.
Thank you so much,
again.
Commissioners.
Yep. All right. Our next item is, we're a little ahead of time, Shauna, but we welcome Shauna Altman from the Sheriff's Office.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I'm here before you today to ask for approval on 2 grants that the Sheriff's Office has received. The first grant is the burn grant. It's a grant we have not gone after in several years. This grant is specifically identified as being required to target drug interdiction. So we wrote this grant to actually promote the facilitation of a female officer inside our Special Investigations Unit. Generally, that takes place over the summer when we have more SROs to choose from, where we can rotate people around to bring a female in. There are things that a female agent can do, female to female. A lot of the men are more willing to talk to a female, so it brings in a different environment into our Special Investigations Unit, which allows us to get information, of course, revolving around drugs and sex trafficking, things like that. So the grant is for $12,065. It's a 1-year grant. It will help cover some of the salaries of that female being positioned in SIU next summer. There's also, because our records management system is not currently NIBRS compliant, there's about $500 or less of this grant that is required to be designated to become NIBRS compliant until that compliance happens, which Zerker is in the process of. So requesting a resolution to approve the burn grant.
I'll make a motion to approve the
I'll
Edward
second
Van
that.
Memorial Plaque.
Motion made by Commissioner Delisle and seconded by Commissioner Burrell. Is there any further discussion on this? I mean, what a nice gift, huh?
Yes.
Other discussion? All right. Hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner Burrell?
Aye.
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 Resolution passes 5-0.
Okay. Our second grant that comes before you is the Tzd Grant. We bring this grant before you every year. One of the things you're going to notice is there's about $10,000 additional this year compared to last year. We have worked within the county for all partner agencies to participate in the grant this time. We previously had certain police departments that did not want to participate due to staffing. It's all done on overtime hours. So this is your grant that covers the DUI enforcement, the extra distracted driving, speed move over laws, those kind of things. Different waves go out throughout the year, and we staff those shifts. Sergeant Hinton does the paperwork and is the liaison for this grant, is required to be a licensed officer. But we are requesting a resolution to approve the annual TZD grant.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the 2021 Towards Zero Death Enforcement Grant.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Vetch. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Delisle. Any discussion on this?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner
Thank you,
Potter.
Madam Chair. No, towards zero death, if we could have something that would stop people from being the 4th or 5th car through a red light, That would help. I know it's hard for the sheriff's department to see, because when they're around, everybody acts like Miss Goody Two-Shoes, but when they're not there, holy hen, it used to be like one person would sneak through on the orange. Now it's like 5 or going, it's like, holy hen.
know.
It's disheartening to see that, because somebody's gonna get hurt somewhere.
Yeah, thank you, and, I mean, certainly Safe Communities of Wright County, this is an important aspect of it, the Towards Zero Death, actually the conferences and these grants help out immensely.
They make a huge difference, absolutely.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, Commissioner Vetch.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
All right, resolution passes 5-0. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Commissioners.
All right. We're just way ahead of schedule today, but
You're an efficient
I guess
machine,
that's
Madam
okay.
That's right, we're gonna change that.
Okay. Okay,
Not
thank you.
Bob's here.
Yeah, maybe
All
I'll
right.
slow it down, Commissioners. Good morning,
Welcome.
Commissioners. The first item on the agenda is an item that we're probably going to bring to you today. We're probably going to remind you again as we get closer to the day. So the state is shutting down all DMVs November 11th to the 13th. This is to kick up the Min Drive program. So in your packets, Becky gave you a memo. What we're going to do is we're going to stay open later, Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday's a holiday anyways, we would have been shut down. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is when the state will implement the new Min Drive system. Becky, anything else you want to add to that?
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Glyden.
So, this is strictly for installation. Will you guys be doing some training on the 12th and the 13th also, or?
Good morning, Commissioners. Mr. Delano, yes, we are doing training right now. It's very intense, in fact. We have about 40 hours per person to do, and we are about halfway through it.
Wow.
It's immensely intense, and so we have been staying late and coming in early, coming in on Saturdays, and trying to get this testing done. Those days will not be available for us to be training because it's all installation. We have to have everything done before they install the program.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is that we still haven't really come up with we haven't come up with a solution yet on what to do this winter for the residents with this COVID thing. I mean, right now, all we're really doing on the inside is driver's license. So are we gonna do some switching around since a lot of people are gonna be leaving in that back area as a drive-through only?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Do we wanna look at again possibly putting these guys over with planning and zoning? I know it's, it's an issue, it's COVID related. We're kind of in a tough spot here for the residents, and that's what we gotta remember.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We have been working very closely with, we've met with Bob and Tammy and Alan and Sue, Virgin, and we've been working on an alternative plan.
This is a
That we will
demonstration
be
of Wirecast.
keeping that back window open, and this is all very tentative, please. Keeping the back window open for those that choose to stand there, maybe for short transactions like tabs. But then inside of our queuing system, we will be making some appointments that will be available for motor vehicle so that the public can choose to schedule an appointment for their motor vehicle transactions inside. We also will be
This
allowing
is a
walk-ins
demonstration
for
of
inside the
Wirecast.
building to keep them out of the elements. But that back window will stay open as a walk-up as long as weather permits and if people are interested in using it.
So, if you're gonna have a queue for inside, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be reducing the amount of driver's license you're gonna be able to do, or are you putting in a different area, or how are you gonna accomplish all this and still maintain
This
the
is a
requirements?
demonstration of Wirecast.
Tentatively, what we have planned is that we, instead of 90 driver's license appointments per day, we'll take that down to 60. And that will give us 30 appointments that could be motor vehicle. So it'll be the option that they can choose one or the other. That means that there may be more people as a walk-in basis. We've noticed that our appointments have not been going as quickly as they were. For a long time, we had one time that appointments went
This
six
is a
hours. We went
demonstration
900
of
appointments in
Wirecast.
6 hours. So they are now lasting into the following week to keep scheduling. So we're noticing kind of, we've hit a little bit of a plateau as far as the driver's license is concerned. So like I said, all we can do is attempt this, and if it doesn't work, we will have to punt again. So that's kind of been the story of what we're doing, is trying this and trying that.
I know, and that's why, you know, when you guys are shut down for those 2 days,
This is
that
a
would be an ideal
demonstration of
time to
Wirecast.
do some major changes if that's what the decision is gonna be, instead of interrupting everything later on. So that's why I wanted to bring it up now.
Very good
You know,
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Batch?
one thing I'll say is you guys are doing a fantastic job on getting walk-ins in. I mean, I've had so many people that literally thought that when they went in there that they would not be able to get seen at all as a walk-in, or that they'd end up having to wait 1 or 2 hours, and you guys have done a
This is a
fantastic job of fitting them
demonstration
in.
of Wirecast.
Now, I mean, moving things around within the DMV inside, I don't know. But, I mean, doing a drive-through may be more plausible. I mean, because that parking lot in the back is not highly utilized. I
No.
mean, I see it, usually it's less than 50% full. And moving those 8 cars to someplace else, it's, right now, our parking lot most of the time around here are pretty empty just because of the COVID-related.
This is a
situation.
Yeah,
demonstration
you might have
of
3 or 4 cars
Wirecast.
back there often.
Yeah.
well, and the thing is that, and I don't know who's parking back there, but you gotta remember too that here in, next week will be a lot of, people that come here for attorneys or court services or courts will no longer be coming here.
Right.
So, that might, you know, that might allow us to do that. And again, I just,
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
well, we're shut down is the ideal time to do those things with the least amount of disruption. So that's why I was just asking the question.
I do appreciate these appointments. I think they're going really well. You know, I got my appointment, I got in, and, I mean, it was just, you know, very, very efficient. And so that was one good thing that came out of all this COVID stuff, because you don't have these lines, and people can
Plan.
schedule their appointments
This is a
and get in, you know?
demonstration of Wirecast.
And so I think that's a real benefit of what's going on. But like you said, maybe working on a drive up instead of, we'd have to kind of switch the way we do it, instead of walk up a drive up, I don't know, in the winter.
And Madam Chair, that has been on a discussion for us. One of the conflicts that we are having with that is the flow, the traffic flow.
Right.
So, and also the larger vehicles, can they make the corner to get around
Mm-hmm.
because of how it's set up? I took my little
This
Equinox
is
and
a
I made it fine
demonstration
turn, that
of
was no problem,
Wirecast.
but a big diesel
Yeah,
truck.
big truck went down.
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Drive your small vehicles. And Commissioner Potter.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Betch was right about the wait is not, but Hennepin County people that, when I talk to them in line, they're not 1 or 2 hours. Sometimes it's up to 3 hours waiting down there to get something, and they're amazed how fast and how quick they're through here. And I've seen some of them upticks. You're getting people from Hennepin County elsewhere that are coming here because you're taking care of the
This is a
issue that they have
demonstration
quicker
of
than
Wirecast.
they're getting it down the metro. And that hurts our residents a little bit, but there's not much we can do about that. We just have to, but they are happy with how quick it's going here, so that nobody's been complaining about this, even the ones sitting out in the hall waiting their turn. Hey, I have no problem. This is a lot faster than what was down the metro.
So, Madam Chair, is this
Yep.
something we want to discuss maybe next Tuesday at the workshop a little bit about DMV and possible drive-up, and maybe in the meantime, Alan can look at it and they can make staffing can look at it from a recommendation standpoint,
This
whether
is a
that would be
demonstration of Wirecast.
plausible, and then if we would, kind of setting a time to make that switch over, probably sometime potentially after election, because then we won't have as many people parking to go upstairs. I don't know, just discussion points.
Well, maybe, maybe during that time frame, like Commissioner Delighten mentioned, since we're gonna be shutting down, when we open again, maybe that's when we open, I don't know.
And Madam Chair.
And that is after election.
Right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The other thing is bringing Alan's recommendations or thoughts to the workshop would be good, because then you'll say,
This is a
here's
demonstration of
the positives
Wirecast.
about doing it, here's the pitfalls. that you got, and here's, if you're gonna do this, here's what, estimated cost associated with this is being, and you determine whether it's
think that
worth the
would be-
effort or
yeah.
not.
Yep.
I mean, it's, because there's a lot of unknowns with that, and we looked once before about moving things around, it's like, once the number kept swelling up and we didn't, and there was no end in sight to it, it's like, okay, stop this is enough. We're only gonna be in this building for another year. Is it really worth spending that much money for this little bit of a
This
gain?
is a
And
demonstration
the answer to
of
me at that time was
Wirecast.
no.
Well, it is all COVID related, so
Right.
it would
It is.
qualify for the CARES funding.
Well, yeah, that's the only thing that before we looked at wasn't factored in before, because it wasn't there.
There's certainly a lot of, a number of people, when you go by, there's often 6 people standing in line, so there is a lot of use at that window, I've noticed, so that's good, but you'd have to figure out logistics of vehicles lined up.
Well, Madam Chair, and I
Yes.
think Alan in administration talks to the highway department, they could
This is a
probably just really
demonstration
quick
of
just measure it out and
Wirecast.
with their engineers tell you what's a turnable radius for different sized
Oh,
vehicles.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
So,
Yeah, just no semis.
so Administrator Kelly, is that something we can add to the
Yeah, if
workshop?
the board wants it added, we can add it to next week's workshop.
Sounds good. All right.
Madam Chair, Becky and I both want to thank the Sheriff's Office for their dedicated deputies.
Oh, yes.
Both the quantity and the quality of customer service that we have had there has been heightened because
This
of that.
is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I echo that. I hear the way they interact with the public, and they're very professional, and I think it gives kind of a calming influence too. You walk in, it's like, just, some people are upset, and they kind of can calm them down pretty quickly, so, thank you,
They de-escalate a lot of things.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right.
And thank your crew.
Yes, thank you, crew, for sure. All right, the license,
And Charlie will cook them cookies.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, our next 2 items are new tobacco licenses. The first one is for Jack's at French Lake in French Lake Township.
I'll make a motion to approve the license.
I'll second that, but I have a question, Madam Chair.
motion made by Commissioner Lyden, seconded by Commissioner Burrell, and you had a question.
Bob, the Jack's is right on Highway 12. Is this another Jack's that's starting up, or?
Well, this would be on 3210 County Road 3 Northwest in Annandale.
Oh, so, because, they have Jack's right on Highway 12. It must be a new store.
Right, it's
Yeah.
in Annandale.
Okay, all right. That's all I had. I just
Okay.
was unaware of it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. That tobacco license is approved. And then the next one.
Right, this one is in the city of Maple Lake. This is H&H Sports Shop.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the tobacco license for H&H Sports Shop in Maple Lake.
All right.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Delighten. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That license is approved. And then number 4, the
So,
private
yes.
sale.
Madam Chair, again, we're cleaning up a lot of our little pieces of forfeited properties. Brian has been working with the homeowners association, so I'm going to let him cover this. This would be getting rid of some more of our,
No, that's that, right? Yeah.
All right, Brian. Welcome, Brian. Esselson.
Swamp belongs with them.
Yeah, that was an oversight when it was made before.
These 6 parcels have been kind of on our list for a while, and we've been dealing with 2 different homeowners associations. There is the Preserve Homeowners Association. These 6 parcels are in the Preserve East Homeowners Association. And there was discussion, I think, between the 2 associations as to who might better own these parcels to keep, the main problem with, there are 3 parcels, I think you have the aerial photos in your packet. 3 parcels are way out by Highway 241 on the east end of the development.
Do you need the number?
No.
I think they could authorize you to go ahead with demolition, and you'll go with the best
Right.
proposal.
So Commissioners, we got 2 quotes. We got one verbal but with no detail. We've asked for the detail of the quote. They haven't come through with that, so we're asking to just go with the lowest bid where we have the detail for it.
Yeah, it needs to be taken care of, so thank
The
you.
neighbor has complained about animals coming onto their
sure.
property from this property, so.
Is this property in probate, or is it?
It's, Madam Chair, Commissioner Vetch, it's actually owned by the state of Minnesota now at this
It's owned by-
point. So
okay.
it sat long enough without taxes being paid that
Okay.
state
so
owns it, and we're just caretakers.
It's already gone way past that then, okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Glyden.
so what kind of price are you talking for the demolition? And when you're saying demolition, improvements demolition, are you gonna bulldoze the whole system down, or what is the plan?
Madam Chair, Commissioner, I believe that is our plan, is to totally demolish everything that's there. We can't rebuild it or.
It's a non-buildable property, or what?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Delano, I think, I can't remember if I had conversations or whether Bob's office did with planning and zoning, and this, because of the bluff or the high bank over the Crow, there's just not room to put a structure and a new septic system and whatever. So I would say it's not buildable.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This has been over a year from that property. It's got a couple problems. One, if you could make it through the 70-80 sewer code, which you're not going to be able to on that piece because of the layout, the bluff impacts on it, you could not rebuild that house on that spot. You could remodel it, but then you're still going to have the sewer issue. They're just, what they allowed before and what they're doing now, that house you wouldn't be able to put on that property today with all the restrictions in there. And this is the only way to take care of this, and I applaud getting this. This is another one that's been sitting there, like the one out by Silver Creek that we took care of a few years ago. And just, it's time to get rid of these ones because it's not gonna get any better. And you can't fix it. If you looked at the photos of that, I mean, the only thing short of children with flaming arrow kits going there, you gotta get rid of it because it's gonna be an attractive nuisance at some point in time for somebody to go in there and do something bad, a meth lab or some darn thing like that, because these are the perfect kind of opportunities for them, because you can't find me here. It's time to get rid of this thing, and I'd make a motion to approve, authorize Bob Hevela in the attorney's office to go ahead and execute the bids for the demolition and cleanup of that property.
Motion made by Commissioner Potter. Is there a second?
I'll second it,
Second by Commissioner Vetch. Any more discussion?
Madam Chair. Because I'm guessing that when it's all said and done, the special assessments won't outweigh the value of the property for resale, I'm guessing, when it goes, I mean, obviously it's an auction, so you don't know, but in all reality, you should be able to get all the special assessments back.
But the
That's
property's
gonna be-
unbuildable, so we're gonna be stuck with this piece of property unless you sell it for
I
a
thought
dollar.
But it's
Is it- I mean, so
state,
that's- I
state
mean-
owned, right?
I guess,
Madam Chair, Commissioner Vetch, what we do is, when we have a sale of tax forfeit parcels, we reimburse ourselves for these types of costs before splitting it out to the various taxing districts, so.
So therefore, it wouldn't be a special assessment against that.
okay, so we're gonna be eating the cost on it.
For a while.
For a while, yeah.
For a long while.
Long while.
I mean,
As long as we're alive.
yeah, I mean, what does it cost? Did you come up, how much was the low bid for?
That's why I'm curious.
I don't remember what the bids were. One was 8 and I think one was 10.
10,000?
Yeah, I don't have the quote with me.
Probably between 8 and 10. That sounds
By the
right.
time you have your equipment, your insurance, your people to take care of it, dumping fees, 8 to 10 is,
Well, see, that's cheap, actually.
I think it's not,
Yeah.
demolition is not actually as bad as you might estimate that it would be.
Madam Chair, one other thing to note that back when I first started working with tax forfeit properties, we were limited to, I remember we tore down the Cokato Bakery. It was a mess, right in downtown Cokato. And at that time, the law was that we had to recoup our costs from sales of other property in Cokato, sales of other tax forfeit property. So it took a long time. Now, it's all one big pot. So if we sell a parcel in Monticello that's along the freeway for $300,000, $400,000 or more, we can recoup out of those proceeds for properties located elsewhere in the county that we've done demolition, this type of thing. So it's become a much more equitable system in terms of how it's managed financially. Does that sound right, Bob?
Yep, that's correct.
Do we have a property along the freeway in Monticello that's
No, he's
valued
just
at
an
three hundred
example.
thousand?
He's an example.
Mr. Chair, I guess or Madam Chair and Commissioner Delano, I get these things mixed up in my mind. I have a tax appeal on a property right along the freeway. The one tax forfeit property that we did sell, or in the process of selling, I think in Monticello, was closer to the theater complex. And that's been on our books for a long time as well. And there's a private school, or preschool, I think, a Montessori type of school that wants to locate there. So they've been working with the city on some zoning issues.
Was there special assessments on that property?
Yeah, a ton of
there-
special
There was quite a, that was the reason it was making it a little bit harder unsellable, and was this whether the city was going to negotiate on those special assessments or not.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Potter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. On that particular parcel of Monticello, I did have conversations with Monticello on that. You know, you have the assessments on here, you should be taking this over. You could, EDA can deal with how to deal with this. And they hemmed and hawed and they talked about it a little bit, but they took no action. But the other thing with the common sense about it all goes into a pool, we'd like to find out which legislator proposed that change in the law that deals with common sense, because whoever that person is, they need a thank you note for that. Because that's a very rare occurrence down there.
All right,
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Burrell?
I guess I have a question and something that Commissioner Potter brought up. If by tearing down this house, you make it an unbuildable lot, it decreases the value, whereas if somebody bought it right now as is and remodeled the house, it would maybe have a higher value. I'm wondering if we aren't ruining the value of the property by making it unbuildable.
Exactly, because you have grandfather rights if they,
Right,
as
'cause
long
you
as
have
they
grandfather
maintain the
rights, right.
foundation, they would have grandfather rights, I
Right.
believe.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Potter?
I can answer that. You can have grandfather rights for the house, but you're not gonna have grandfather rights for the septic system.
No,
When
but-
it changes hands like that has, you have to update to the new code, and that
No,
property will
I
not meet the new code.
understand that, they'd have to put a new septic in, or even if they put a holding tank in or whatever, it's still a buildable lot. I mean, buildable in the fact that it could be remodeled. I don't know if we should jump to this right away, and I think maybe, did you try selling it already, or is there any interest?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Burrell, it seems to me that this was on a sale list, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I know the DNR would have concerns as well about anything being on the parcel, just if it's very, very small and, like I said, basically crumbling into the river because there's a high bank with no support.
Wouldn't it be better, more beneficial for the county to sell it to the neighbor for $100? And that way, the neighbor would have the additional property, which would increase the value of his home.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Delano, we would have that opportunity. I don't think anyone would buy it in the current state.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, once we demo it, what are we gonna sell it for then? $100 again?
But what's it been offered for now? I guess I'd be curious.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Burrell, Bob may be checking, but I'm not sure we've set a minimum bid price on this one.
I'm checking with Tammy right now.
To me, I think we should at least explore that as an option, if it hasn't been explored.
Why don't, I know we have a motion on the floor, we'd have to vote on it, but maybe I'm just wondering if it isn't something we sent to the tax forfeiture committee or whatever and have them look into it a little bit.
Well, it sounds like it's been vetted.
I don't
Quite a
think it
while
has.
here.
We have not, we have not vetted this at the committee.
I just hate wasting the money, and then we end up with a piece of property that,
By demoing it, I think we'd be better off to just sell it the way it is.
So Commissioners, I agree with Commissioner Burrell. Maybe we should just call a tax forfeiture committee. We have the demolition quotes. I'm sure they're good for some time being.
Okay.
So if you want to kick this to the forfeiture committee, we can find out if it's condemned or
Yeah.
what can we do with it.
I think it needs
fine.
more
But
attention.
really, Madam Chair, you look at it, if one of the neighbors wanted to buy it, and they could basically change their, create an easement so they could put septic on one of their sides, and then they could resell it then again.
There's a lot of opportunity.
Exactly, a lot of opportunity.
Okay, well,
So
motion
how-
maker, will you withdraw
procedurally, we
your
have a
motion?
motion. How do we do now?
Who made the motion?
maker.
So Madam Chair, I'll withdraw the motion
Alright.
since there seems to be dissent on the ranks here.
All right.
What to
And then,
do.
Madam Chair, I'll
Beth,
make
do
a
you agree
motion that
with
we
that?
send
Yeah, I
this.
agree with that, yeah.
Wyatt? Okay, Commissioner Burrell?
Okay, I'll make a motion that we send this to the Tax Forfeiture Committee
All right.
for
Motion made by
further,
Commissioner
further
Burrell.
look into. Make sure we're making the right call.
This
there
is
a
a good
second?
discussion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Delyden.
Second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. All right. So, Mr. Virgil Hawkins, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and
Morning.
County Board of Commissioners. There's two items for Highway for your consideration this morning. The first one is to approve quitclaim deeds for transfer of property to the Delano Economic Authority. And this one came to us, the city proposed a land swap that included 3 parcels in exchange for highway easement along Highway 30 and Highway 16. And if you look at the map that's included in your packet, it kind of shows the story there. We got these 3 parcels when MnDOT rebuilt Highway 12 a couple decades ago. And so this just cleans up some things in the area and allows them to redevelop the parcel where the gas station used to be next to the Dairy Queen on Highway 30 in Delano. So this is for your consideration. And the city did approve the easement. They took action at their council meeting last week.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the land swap.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Delyden, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed, motion carries. Thank you, and then the resolution.
Okay, thank you. The next item is to approve a resolution of final acceptance for contract 1907. And this was by Redstone Construction. This was the flood wall that was built along Highway 17, also in Delano. And this project turned out really nice, if anybody's had a chance to go and see that. This was a collaborative effort with the city of Delano. We paid $125,000 for our share, which we would have paid anyway to reestablish the bank there, but they wanted to do a flood wall, and they had some city funds and FEMA grant money. So this was for the final payment and resolution of acceptance.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Potter, seconded by Commissioner Delyden to approve this resolution. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Potter?
This is one. Virgil, thank you for your work, and as we toured and looked at that on our little road tour, this definitely was a project that was needed, and I'm glad it worked out like it did, because I know Delano's happy with it. I talked with Administrator Kearns the other week about that project and 30 and everything else, and he's been very happy with how the county has been working with them to resolve some of these issues that they've had over there.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Commissioner
Aye.
Potter?
Aye.
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 Aye. Resolution passes 5-0. Thank you, Virgil.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes. Burrell.
Well, you're not going to leave yet. I had a quick question. On County Road 30, Virgil, with the construction there, is there any coordination between the state and County Road 30? Because when they have Highway 12 tore up now, the state does, and then we have County Road 30 tore up, it really makes it difficult to get through up there. And I don't know if in the future, maybe they could work with us a little bit. I know our project started a long time before theirs, but maybe theirs was scheduled and whatever. It's been a real traffic nightmare for people in my district.
Yes, that's true. And there was coordination ahead of time. We talked with MnDOT when we had our project with our detour. They already had theirs programmed in also. And theirs is being done under traffic, so there is flagging operation, and it is causing delays, and we understand there's frustration. We've been getting calls from the public too. Fortunately, our project will be completed and 30 will be opened up here in the next couple of weeks, so hopefully that'll help ease things there.
Yeah, because, no, if you catch it at the wrong time, you could be sitting there for a good 15 minutes on Highway
no.
12.
Sure.
So,
Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Burrell, I was out there last week and I informed Virgil about that. It was a 23-minute wait for me. And I
Yeah.
know that's not acceptable, so he passed that word along. And then put an update on the county website about the progress of County Road 30, where it's gone, so the people can actually see, okay, I drove the whole thing, talked to the engineers out there. It's looking really good. In fact, they probably have the gravel, all the base down now, and maybe paving this week for all I know.
it was bad timing, and I don't know who to point the finger to.
But I know
or
23 minutes
whatever.
is not acceptable, because Virgil was telling me usually a 10-minute is the max. But I know that piece by Delano that they were doing, they had a couple roads coming out that they had to deal with them too, so that might have been just that unique circumstance for that one stretch there by the industrial park going in, that they had so many other little appurtenances come in that just took them a little longer to get that coordinated. But the flaggers, the people, they were all working, they're all making progress towards it, just a unfortunate situation.
Okay, that's all I had.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Virgil.
Thanks, Virgil.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Matt Detchen, welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. I have before you an order that was drafted by Greg to point the viewers to do additional viewing for County Ditch 16 and County Ditch 19. If you remember a while back, we had some discussions on that. They came back to us with kind of the associated costs. I included in your packet, I'll break it down really briefly here. It is some pretty complex hydraulic modeling that they're not able to do as viewers, so they are actually looking to hire Houston Engineering, who we've worked for in the past, to do some of these modeling scenarios to determine benefits, especially to the lake areas, which I know is a major concern on this system. The cost with that is an additional $6,000, so we wanted to bring that forth to the board and have a discussion on it.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Batch.
if you want, I
Yeah.
can defer to you first. I'll
Okay.
yield to you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Brown.
And Madam Chair, and just to refresh the board's memory here, this is something that came about when we had originally had the hearing after the redetermination of benefits, and then later I got call after call, and like, what is wrong with the situation here where the people that are on the lake that we're getting all the calls from to repair ditch 19 because their lots are going to be flooded and the next big rain, all the calls are coming from the people on the lake, and the repair assessment on a $15,000 or $20,000 repair would cost them all of 14 cents, 12 cents, per parcel. So this is a way to try to fix it, but if it works, Matt, but I almost need some kind of a guarantee that that this will resolve the equity issue with who gets benefited on the ditch system, and I don't know if I have that yet.
Yeah, they did address that in the note. I'm just going to quote it directly. I want to be clear that gathering and providing this additional information in no way guarantees or implies a different outcome from our current economic analysis of the area will be gained. So they did bring
So
that
why
up.
are we doing this then? Why can't we, I don't mind spending a little bit of money if I know this will work, but we don't have the guarantee. We don't have any, even remote.
Madam Chair, because,
Commissioner Batch.
I've read through this, and I'm kind of going, what we're doing is we're not investigating to actually make the watershed bigger. We're just really looking at trying to shift the numbers within the current pie.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just don't see how them spending this $6,000 is going to change that, because I don't even know that, is it possible for us to take changes in the value into consideration, and how would you do that?
I thank you for bringing that up, because I did the same thing. I'm trying to figure this out. So,
It's almost, and I've talked with Greg, and it's never been explained to me, you know, why was this even being proposed? Do they feel that it's a 50% likelihood that we can get the desired outcome? Because the desired outcome, in my perspective as a management over the ditch system, is to have some equity. And the
Right.
viewing report that we got from H2O overviewers, that is not, in my opinion, equitable to the people on the system.
Yeah, and I can let Greg describe that, because we did originally have a different plan of a flat
Right.
assessment rate to the lake owners. I wasn't in that phone call with John Kolb, our attorney, about doing that, because that would be something that's essentially coming from you as the board and not from the viewers. I'll let Greg speak on that if he's on the call.
Is he on? Yeah.
Greg Kaiser?
Madam Chair, members of the board, I'm here, connecting via Teams here remotely. Yes, if the board is looking at trying to change the assessments and trying to look at increasing the value of benefits for the properties along the lakeshore, the resolution before you is the best way to do that. In talking with Attorney Kolb on this matter, if the board was to go about and just unilaterally reassess benefits on this, you're going to be in a weaker position than if the viewers do it. And as the board, you have the authority to tell the viewers to go back and look at specific things that you think they missed. And the resolution before you directs them to do that. With that, the viewers have recommended also looking at some engineering and doing some analysis on the water outlet of French Lake to determine whether or not, I guess to what level that benefit would be determined off the outlet. So the board is looking, if the board really wants to do this properly, this is the best way to do it, if you want to do it. So we're trying to follow the science and have the science lead the way here on this one, because that is, I mean, the people on the lake, if the science shows that they're benefited, then that's what we should follow.
Commissioner Brett?
So this is going to be able to take into the consideration that these lakeshore properties and their value of their property as to how much of it is actually above water versus below water because of the ditch system, because obviously if they have more dry acreage along the lake or more square footage that is dry, it adds value to the property, where in the past we weren't usually really looking at the value of the resale of the property in terms of a benefit. Is that what you're going after? Because I mean, I'm just interested from a perspective that with Ditch 33, we have the same situation where we have residential property that is, because inherently the practices of the past for redetermination of benefits are more designed to assess agricultural property and not residential property, and we have to find some sort of a mechanism that makes it equitable.
Yeah, I think the big thing when we discussed it is, you know, you have currently for no matter what viewing method we do, you have a single residential classification, and that classification stems from the people that are in lowland areas or the people that are high up on a hill. There's no way to change that, and you need to do this model.
Madam Chair, thank you. I'm reluctant to vote for this right now because I don't think we've explored all the other avenues. And I think one of them, the avenues that we could do as a board and make this a lot cheaper and a lot more equitable, is take people's property that are above, 4 feet above the ditch system or whatever, and exclude them from the system. I don't know if, like I said, all my ideas are illegal, but, but we have the authority to do that, and then that would put the assessment back down on the people that are actually benefited from this. The other thing is, could we go and say, right now, you're gonna be looking at a $6,000 another assessment just to do another hydrology study, whatever. Would you all be willing to stipulate to pay, the $100 for the clean out that happens once every 15 or 20 years? Would you be willing to pay $100? And that's what we're really asking them to do.
Well, I mean, like,
If not, every other option that we're gonna look at is gonna cost them a lot more money. This $6,000 is half of a clean out.
yeah, I mean, according to our advice that we got from our attorney is we have more options if we do this. If we go ahead with this, we have more options going forward. So
But-
I'm on the fence here.
Yeah. Attorney Kreiser, you disappeared on us, but
He's there.
hopefully you're still there.
Sorry, I lost internet for a
Oh, you
little
only
bit,
show
but
up when
I'm
you
back.
talk. Keep muttering stuff in the background. No.
Yeah.
But are those, I mean, are there other options maybe that we could look at? I know you and John Kolb looked at and came up with this option, but maybe, you know, something else could be done. I mean, because I think we can exclude properties from the ditch system, from the benefited area, and then that would focus the water, the issue down to the lake owners.
If you want to exclude property for what the viewers did, you have the option to do that, but you have to articulate your reasons why you would be going against what the viewers recommended. Yeah. So you can't just unilaterally do it. You need to have evidence to back it up, because you really open yourself up to a lot of litigation potential from a property owner who then says the assessments aren't correct. And the $6,000 you think you're saving, now you're going to end up paying Rinky Noonan tenfold to defend it.
Yeah.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes.
Greg, have you ran hypothetical scenarios based on this recommendation? Has Brian Murphy kind of said, okay, with this guidance on another location, ran a hypothetical and seen if it actually changed anything? Because I'm afraid we're going to spend $6,000 and we're going to see micro changes.
No, it's going to go from 12 cents to double it. It's going to go to 24 cents now. That's what I think is coming.
But it's not going to, it's exactly, then at the end of the day, we spent a ton of money and basically didn't solve anything.
So couldn't they do that, Greg? Attorney Kreiser, I should be more formal here at the meeting, sorry. But couldn't they do that and just say, if this, how would it affect, you know, before doing this here study, hiring Houston to do it, just give them the most likely number, just do a prediction and say, if it's this, the assessment would change to this. If it was this, it would, you know, have them do that scenario without actually doing the study.
I can kind of answer that too.
Yeah.
The software that they would use to do this hydraulic modeling is something that, you know, even we don't have. The viewers don't have this, so they're not able to. Essentially what you're doing, and for people who do stormwater modeling, is you're doing a mini XP Swim model, which is a whole different type of software than even AutoCAD. So the viewers don't have the ability to do it. They would still have to have Houston do that modeling like you're asking. And
Matt, you're missing the point here. Just put the numbers in. Put them in high, put them in low, put them in the middle, and see how it affects those properties. That's what I want to see before spending $6,000. Because let's say it's real high up here, and that's what would shift the amount toward the lots paying more, and you get it way up here, see how much it would change the assessment. If it changes at 40 cents, it's hardly worth spending $6,000.
So did Houston,
we would just,
Madam Chair, did
Yep, go ahead.
Houston, have you guys like postured it with Houston as to what would they expect the changes to be? You know, putting in some scenarios without actually running it? Because I mean, I just want to know, like Charlie here, or Commissioner Burrell, what are the swings with putting it into the system?
yeah, so staff was asked to direct the viewers to look into this and come up with a quote. They essentially told us the same thing I was telling you, is that they're not able to do it. Had a conversation with Houston, what we were asking for, and this essentially, the $6,000 is Houston's quote for what they think the price would be. The viewers do address it, like I said, that they said that the information in no way guarantees or implies a different outcome from our current economic analysis.
Matt, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. Throw in some hypothetical numbers. Tell the viewers, use these hypothetical numbers. How would it change the assessment?
Madam
That's
Chair.
as simple as that.
Commissioner Burrell, are you talking about H2O viewers?
Just
Ask them for scenario?
plug in numbers, hypothetical numbers. Way up, the highest it could possibly be, the lowest it could possibly be, and something in the middle, and see where the assessments change.
Madam Chair,
That's what I
I
want to
guess
say.
where's the free sample from Houston Engineering on this? That's what I want. I want my free sample that says that, yep, this is at least somewhat viable. I need some sort of a free sample, because if it's viable, I'll use it on a lot of ditch systems, but before I can buy into it, because this is a total 180 change from what we've done in the past, I need to have at least
Some assurance.
some assurance.
I guess, one of the major things is, why does this cost $6,000? If they've got the software, how much time are they actually talking about? Because that's.
I'm not even sure that's the point.
Well-
Because it's just, let's say they spend $10,000 and they get a perfectly exact number, and it changes the assessment 10 cents, we just wasted money,
Yeah.
So we need to know, whatever number it is, how will it change the assessment?
What is the impact?
Yes,
thing?
exactly, Madam Chair.
And fortunately, Houston will be here this afternoon for a public hearing, so maybe you could
But
have a
they're not
conversation.
really, it's not even there, I don't even have a question of them. They're gonna come up with this hydrology model and all the elevations, all that. That's not where my question is. My question is of the viewers. If you have this hydrology number that says X, Y, Z, how will it affect the assessment? That's what my question is. It's, if you do this, how will it change the roles and make it more equitable?
Madam Chair, and that's kind of a number of both, because H2O viewers can't tell us that unless they know the number from Houston, so it's kind of the question is, Houston, how does the plugging in these things change the numbers?
Right.
So that
But they
Brian
can make-
can tell you how it would affect.
That's what I'm saying, though. They can make a hypothetical number, a high one, a low one, and a middle one, and see how will it change. That's what I want to see. And Houston should be able to say, the highest it would be is this, the lowest is this, and without even doing a study, without spending a dime.
So like I said, so we could ask Joe this afternoon and kind of just do it maybe like pro bono,
Well, you could
and
feel it out
get
just to tell us, give us three numbers, give us the highest, give us the lowest, and whatever. But I don't know, who's, Attorney Kreiser, who said that this would change the assessment then? Is it just something we're just grasping at straws, or who came up with the idea that said this should work?
Well, Madam Chair, Commissioner Burrell, this came about from a discussion with Attorney John Cold, who we hire for ditch issues. His recommendation was to have the viewers look at the items articulated at the end of the order, which is look at what did the ditch, with the ditch being built, what is the effect on French Lake? And that effect on French Lake, what is the value of having a stable lake elevation to those first-tier properties on the lake? What would be the value to those properties from having a stable elevation as far as septics, being able to have a stable dock elevation, being able to have a shoreline that remains there, and also the potential to be able to have a house on those properties. So that's what we're asking the viewers to look at, and the viewer said it would be really helpful for us if we could also then articulate what this ditch did to the lake system itself.
Okay.
With and without the ditch. What happens to this lake with the ditch, and what happens with the outlet without the ditch?
Okay.
So that's what they want to look at with the
So again,
$6,000.
It's a question of the viewers, because you could say, if the water were to rise 2 feet and put this many places underwater, the value would be something, and we don't know that. We need to know that from the viewers. How will that change the assessment? Or if the ditch, if the water was way down, whatever. I think they can plug in a number and get us that information without hiring $6,000 worth of hydrology, elevation and all this other stuff. It's just that modeling. If we did the study and said a 1 foot bounce would change the assessment to where the people on the lake would pay $75 or $80, then I would say, and that's just an estimate, then I would say, okay, spend the $6,000 and let's do it. But just plug in a number to begin with and see how it changes the assessment. That's what I'd like to see.
Commissioner Burrell, you're asking Matt to go ahead and try to get some more information about this before we're prepared to vote?
We have to. And then the other thing I think is can we do, I would feel justified as a board member saying anybody that's 2 feet above the the water level at French Lake removed from the rolls, okay? I could justify that because they say they don't need it. Their water would still go without the ditch. So,
Well, they still benefit though.
They benefit.
I know
They
that,
still
Mark, but it's a
benefit.
way to shift the thing, and I said, usually my things are illegal, you know, that's why I said I have to do a little research. But
Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Attorney Kreiser.
Right here, Commissioner Potter.
Attorney General recommends doing this to put the county in the safest position against litigation, future litigation, based on arbitrary numbers, and this helps us meet the statute, what the 103E subsection, whatever, this all helps us. So we're being consistent and following the law, because it's not just this ditch. If we do something arbitrary here, now we gotta do something arbitrary somewhere else, and this is what we want to avoid. It might be $6,000, it might be a lot of heartburn, but we gotta get this, because we got the DNR not actually playing real nice with us, but we gotta make sure we're following the law and do this so we have consistency through the whole system, because this one will happen, and if we do something deviating from the law or whatever here, then what happens when you get to Lake Ann or to Pulaski or to anywhere else? What do you do? And my thing is to go with the attorney said, do it, $6,000, it's hard to swallow, but to make sure, cross the T's, dot the I's, get all these things done the correct way is, to me, is important.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Batch.
So, to Commissioner Potter's comment, we've already stepped outside the box, and that's why we are doing this, is because clearly the traditional way of doing redetermination of benefits in the 103E law isn't quite with what's actually happening in really truly representing the benefits of the ditch systems. So we're looking at trying to find mechanisms within the drainage law that, with the opinion of an attorney, that still keeps us compliant. Is that a true statement? And that's what we're doing. I mean, this is a totally different practice than what we've done before, and it's just a matter of whether it makes sense or not. I mean, once again, this is a legal opinion. I don't believe this has gone before a judge and been tried at this point. I don't think it's been used before, has it?
Madam Chair and Commissioner Potter, Commissioner Vetch, Wright County, unfortunately for us, is very unique in our ditches. If you go to most of the other ditches in the state, they end up draining agricultural land. They run right through flat land all across, and everything around them is soybeans and corn, and a couple highways. Wright County, unfortunately, our ditches drain bodies of water that are protected by the state of Minnesota. So we're in a different situation than the rest of the state. So what the viewers are doing here is they're trying to adjust this different criteria that we have here in Wright County, where we have a lake that, upon further reflection and further review, the ditch was actually built to try to provide a stable elevation. And to do that, they would like to get this engineering done on it, this modeling done as far as the outlet criteria. And to Commissioner Potter's comments, I do believe that this is the safest method to proceed. What's going to happen here? I don't know. I don't know what the modeling is going to say, and the viewers don't know either. So is there a risk? Yes, there's a risk here that it could change nothing, or there's a possibility it could change things quite a bit, but we just don't know until we get the modeling done.
Well, Madam Chair, common sense says that if the ditch wasn't there, the lake would flood.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're the ones that want it cleaned. It's no farmers around. I shouldn't say none, but the lion's share of the complaints are from the lake owners, from their lots. But Madam Chair, I did have, and Commissioner Potter stepped out for a little bit, so you missed part of the conversation. What's that?
I didn't step out.
I stepped out.
Oh, okay. But anyway, then I didn't understand where you were coming from then. I'm not opposed to doing the study if it's going to work. Plug in a hypothetical number, have the viewers do that, and how much will it change? I want to know that number before I vote to spend $6,000 on something that may or may not work. If they show me, if this ditch was not there and the lake went up 1 foot or whatever, and we would be able to change the assessment to the lot owners X amount. I want to know that.
So, Madam Chair,
Commissioner Batch.
And I could support doing this as a trial if I could pay for it out of professional services, because I don't want to take this risk on it not knowing and having to have it billed back to the potential landowners. You know, if this was a tried and true method, but I guess if I was paying for it out of professional services where I'm taking the risk out of a bigger pool than these small people, I don't want to end up making that change.
But there's no reason the taxpayers should pay for a ditch system, that's, you know.
Well,
Just,
but
what is,
then we charge against all the
what's
ditches,
wrong with
because
just, what's wrong with just looking at this and seeing, put in a hypothetical number, the one that will raise will shift more to the lake owners than anything, and see what that number is? Why can't the viewers just run, you know,
individual
let me try this, let me try this for y'all. I'm gonna see if this analogy works. My engine on my car is having problems, okay? It's gonna, a mechanic will tear it apart for $2,000 and let me know what's wrong with it, okay? Then I would say, okay, that's good to know. Now, what's the amount if you had to totally rebuild the engine? What's the amount if it was something minor? What do you think the average would be? That's all I'm asking before I go and spend the $2,000. If he says, if you have to rebuild the engine, it's gonna be $40,000, and I know that's out of whack, then I would say, forget it, I'm not even spending the $2,000. It's a moot point. Why spend the $6,000 if we don't know what the results could be? That's all I'm asking for, to tell me what are the likely scenarios, the high, the low, and the medium,
Okay.
before we spend $6,000.
Madam
We
Chair,
got-
I'll make
we
a
got-
motion to approve the investigation by the viewers to redetermination of benefits for ditch 16 and 19. Move this forward one way or another.
What was the motion for?
Motion to direct further investigation.
Oh, okay.
Approve further investigation.
Correct.
Motion made by Commissioner Potter to approve further investigation so we can get some more information.
And that would include sending to the viewers then, just do some hypotheticals.
No, you're
No,
spending
that was
$6,000.
that's the motion is to go
You're
forward with what we're
you're
doing
making a
with
motion to
$6,000.
spend up to $6,000? Okay, no, I won't
Move
second
an
that.
issue forward, it's either gonna pass or it's not gonna pass.
I'll
Okay.
second that
Okay,
with the caveat that the money does come out of professional services and not go to the lake people, or to the ditch people. Because it is hypothetical. And it is something that we are trying to do that we'd be able to utilize in other locations.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Attorney Kreiser, what precedent are we setting here and what dangerous slope are we skiing down right now?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Potter, my recommendation would be is that you hold off on that funding decision. This isn't going to be assessed this year anyhow. Let's do some further research on that. Let's not tie our hands. And as part of the 2021 assessment, we can review that process. That'd be my recommendation, is to hold off on that, making that decision at this point.
To table it.
Well, to hold off on determining where the money's.
Okay, that part, yeah, I'm okay with that part to wait because that slope is a little dangerous in my world.
All right,
So the
I-
motion's gonna get withdrawn then, or?
no.
No, it isn't. It's
No,
like-
just a funding source. So listening to all the information that we've got on this, I appreciate Commissioner Brown wanting to kind of do some analysis on this and try to, get some more information, but we have some, well-versed attorneys. We have one that's, specializes that we've hired also to consult with our attorneys on this. And I believe that we need to take the safest route, the one that's going to give us, we don't know exactly, but it's going to give us the correct answers in the end. So that's, I support this, so.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Potter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Then we need to find out if Commissioner Delano's second is conditional still or not conditional, because that's, he put conditions on his second.
Have you, Commissioner Leiden?
Madam Chair, so long as we can blame our attorney, if this doesn't work out, then I have no problem just changing it to...
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dahlite, and it's always the attorney's fault.
Right.
That's why I just wanted to make sure, clarify that.
Just for that, pack your
It's
bags
always
and
the
all
attorney's
that
fault.
stuff.
I'll go on record.
All right.
Go for it.
Madam
Commissioner
Chair,
Vetch?
before we vote, I'm going to side with Charlie because this isn't a race we need to get decided here today. We can take 2 weeks and have the conversation with Houston this afternoon, give us some high, lows, and mid-range information on it. We can have a little bit of discussion as to what are potential funding opportunities on it to make us feel more comfortable going into this. I don't want to spend the $6,000 and have hindsight 2020 that, yep, now the benefit landowners have to pay for it, and it made no sense at all to do it.
I do want both of you to be comfortable with this decision, I guess. I don't want this to be a divided vote. It still may end up being a divided vote, but I think that's a good point. Let's put this off for 2 weeks.
Madam Chair, thank you very much for that, because that will give Matt time to go to the viewers and say, plug in a number, plug in a hypothetical number, will it shift, will it work at all? Because we don't even know that, and I appreciate that. And because if 2 weeks came from now and Matt went to the viewers and said, if this scenario played out, yes, it would shift the amounts over to a more equitable thing. I'm all in favor of doing the study then. I'd vote for it. So.
All right.
So, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion.
There's a motion on the table.
Second, yeah.
Motion on the
Floor
table.
right now, you need to act on
Yep.
that one right now?
I'll make a motion to table it. That's always in order.
Yeah, that you can do.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion to table this for 2 weeks.
Made by Commissioner Burrell, and we don't need a second, correct? All right. So motion, we will bring this back in 2 weeks after much discussion.
We have to vote on the
On
tabling.
the table.
Yep.
We don't need a
We
second.
need it to be second though, but does it?
No.
Does not need to be second. So motion to table is on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right.
Opposed.
I'm sorry, opposed.
So the item to table is 4-1. The other one,
4-1.
the other
3-2
motion,
it looked like.
Then the other,
the other motion carries to the
So we'll
next
see you
time.
this afternoon. Okay, so Alicia O'Hare, you've been patiently waiting for half an hour.
That's okay. Can you guys see and hear me?
Welcome.
Hi. Thank you, Madam Chair, the members of the board. So I'm just bringing an update to the Water Management Task Force bylaws. The Water Management Task Force is in charge of coordinating our water management plans. That includes the One Watershed, One Plan for North Fork and the County Water Plan that is for the Mississippi St. Cloud and the South Fork watersheds. So, they plan, what are we going to do this year? How well have we been doing, etc. The primary updates that this came from was it's been a little difficult to fill certain seats on the test, so we expanded some of those. And then the sportsman seat, the place that it said that we would ask for a recommendation from no longer exists, so we updated that one as well. But in this conversation for updating the bylaws came where the approvals for the members comes from. It was originally listed as the county board, you yourselves. But since the majority of the decisions go to soil and water first, we were just wondering if the soil and water board could take on the approvals of the task force members.
Board members, any comments on that? I'm fine with it, but it's a task force.
So Madam Chair, sitting on there, and all the recommendations, like Alicia said, they are all going to be ones that are going to go to the Soil and Water Board.
Right.
And they are already the ones that are doing all the solicitation for members. It just makes sense that they would formally adopt them.
Yeah. Yep, thank you. I agree. Any other comments on that?
yes, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Potter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a little heartburn on this as being one that sat on the task force as a mayor of Albertville a long time ago. it was nice that the county board had input on who was sitting on there so that it doesn't get stacked in one favor or another, because that's what I used to go in the past. Not saying it's gonna happen in the future, but in the past it did. They stacked people who they wanted with their mindset instead of having, like Commissioner Burrell always has, that opposing point of view or brings up other items that should be talked about, never get talked about if we up here don't have input on who's actually on this and what their mission is. That's just my little heartburn, my little soapbox on it, but I'll stop at that point.
Yeah, and they definitely, have different groups that are represented in this, so it's not, I don't have a particular concern with stacking, and I think that we also can offer input. I mean, if there is particular people that we know of that would be good at serving on this task force, that we certainly can make those recommendations, Commissioner Potter. Is that correct, Alicia?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, of course. If you have input, we would certainly take it. We're actually looking for some members now, so I can certainly ask you, if you have anybody to recommend. And of course, I would provide any updates to you, at least on an annual basis, of who is serving on the task force as well.
Yeah.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Bench?
this task force is far less political now that the AIS committee exists,
Yes.
which was tended to be one of the more political items that was discussed in there, and where equitable factors may have came in at that point. But since that item's removed, I don't see that as being an issue. And the county board still always has the power of the purse with soil and water.
Right.
So, and there's a big, cross demographics across the county on the soil and water board. So I don't feel like having them delegated that authority to appoint people on there as being a concern.
Yep.
So.
All right, well, I would look for a motion to approve this Water Management Task Force
I'll
bylaws
make a
update.
motion to approve the Water Management Task Force bylaws update.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Bash. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown. Any discussion?
And then, Madam, just a quick
Yep.
comment. And Alyssa, with the advent of the One Watershed, One plans that will eventually take over all of Wright County, once the South Fork comes in and the Mississippi, that will take care of our water plan, I do believe. We will not have to have that. So the importance of the Water Management Task Force would be even lower. With AIS gone, with the water management plan gone, at some point, I don't know if the usefulness will even be there.
Other than statutorily, we have to exist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I mean.
Anyway.
Madam Chair?
responsibility shift.
Yeah.
Statutorily, we don't need the task
We
force.
don't.
No. They're recommended, but we're not required to have one.
So I think that's something that a future board, I won't be here, but a future board may look at, because once we have the One Watershed, One plans, we'll have no more need for the water plan, and the One Watershed, One plans can take over that thing. And it would be, we eliminated the crow, we could eliminate another thing. I mean, was that novel or what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's certainly something that may come before the board in a couple
But
of
I
years, and they're,
I support this for now,
Yeah.
though. I'm
Yeah.
okay with it.
All right, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you. Have a good week.
You too.
Thank you.
Well, we've got 8 minutes to do all the rest of our business, so, before leadership. So we are looking at setting a committee of the whole to discuss elected officials' salaries. And Administrator Kelly, do you have some suggested dates?
Yes, Madam Chair, as per statute, we have to do this annually. Initially, we were looking at sometime between the week of the 16th, possibly into December. It appears if we were to do after the board meeting on the 17th, that would work for 2 and potentially 3 of our electeds. There may be a conflict. Otherwise, the next week you get into the holiday or into December. So
I'm okay on the 17th.
I'm good on the 17th.
So.
10:30?
The 17th, the Thursday, the 17th? Pardon?
You phone in?
Oh, you won't be around?
With the conflict, so if it's okay, I could just call in, depending on phone reception in western North Dakota.
Okay. So you're looking at Thursday, the 17th?
This is a demonstration
I was
of
looking
Wirecast.
at Tuesday, the 17th of
November.
November, okay. I
He
heard
he said
December.
December too, I was
Okay,
confused too.
thank you.
I heard December.
Okay. All right,
So
so
say
we're looking
10:30?
at,
10:30 would work.
at November 17th, set for 10:30,
Yep.
Mr. Kelly? All right.
November
All right.
17th.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner
I'll
Potter.
second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Vetch. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
This
All
is
right.
a demonstration
Motion
of
passes.
Wirecast.
And the next item, schedule a closed session for labor negotiations. Administrator Kelly.
Yes, Madam Chair, we've received renewals for health insurance. We'll need to discuss what we intend to do for contributions on the county side. Would like to move this sooner than later. If possible, could we squeeze it in after the workshop next week? Perhaps otherwise after Human Services on Monday.
All right. Preferences board?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
No,
Sometimes our workshops get to be quite long.
True.
Would it maybe work to have it at either 3 o'clock on the 12th or late morning on the 12th? And then take a quick lunch break and,
Why, what do we have scheduled for the, oh, wait a minute.
HHS.
I'm gonna-
This
HHS.
is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Well, it should only be a 30-minute conversation. You guys just want to meet at 12:30 and then
yeah, we
you
could
know,
meet, yeah.
12:30 right before HHS.
I won't, on the 12th?
Yeah.
I won't be able to do that. I could do 12 o'clock.
It-
If it's a half-hour meeting.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too.
All right,
That's what you want.
all right. Should we
12
set it
o'clock?
for 12 o'clock on the 12th? For a motion?
So
This
moved.
is a
Second by
demonstration
Commissioner
of
Lyden, second by
Wirecast.
Commissioner Vetch.
12 o'clock.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. That meeting is set for the 12th of October. And number 3, our proclamation for Manufacturing Week.
Thank, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we declare October 1st to the October 7th
This
as
is a
Minnesota
demonstration of
Manufacturing Week
Wirecast.
in Wright
Yeah.
County.
All right, motion made by Commissioner
Second.
Worrell, seconded by Commissioner Delyden. And, I mean, yeah, when you look at it,
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I didn't know.
all right. And we will do a roll call vote on this. Commissioner Delyden?
Aye.
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 All right. And the proclamation passes, is
Madam Chair,
declared.
I'm ready to
This is a
go on the
demonstration of
advisory.
Wirecast.
Okay,
For
advisory,
yeah, we're gonna have to make it quick.
Or is there something else?
yep,
Okay.
real quick.
Actually, I would ask Sheriff Derringer if he'd come up to the podium to help me out on this a little bit. We had our Emergency Services Board meeting on the 30th of September, and we were notified that, again, that the 911 service went down. It was on
This is a demonstration
September
of Wirecast.
29th. It went down for, I don't know how long, but quite a few calls, and it was not just a Minnesota thing. It was Arizona, Colorado, North Carolina, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Utah, where the 911 service went down. And something that we got to get out to the people, and that's why I'm hoping Sheriff Derringer can help us. There's still a phone number you can pick up and call. If 911 does not work, we need to call the non-emergency number, it will still go to the dispatch. Last year, when 911 services went out, there was a farm accident down in southern Minnesota. A young child got really seriously hurt and ended up dying. They tried to get 911 services for over an hour and could not because the service was down. So it's just really unfortunate. But Sheriff, I was wondering, I tiled the 1162 number. Is that a good one or?
Yep.
Okay, so I think we need to get this out and maybe have John maybe do a notice, because years ago, before 911, we all had fire department number, sheriff number, you know, mom or dad at work, you know, whatever. We had the list by the phone, and that's something that you gotta have as a backup for families if 911 does not work. So,
Thank you, yep.
and then, so the number that I would give out then would be the 763-682-1162.
Or 7600.
Or 7600, okay, but I think that would be a good article because,
I think that'd be great.
anyway, that's what I wanted to put out, and thank you, Sheriff, for
Demonstration of
sticking around for that.
And I don't have much of an update for you. It's frustrating, obviously, that it happened several venues throughout the entire nation. And it's something to do with a trunk line, obviously. And there's two companies that are involved, and it's under investigation by both companies. And we've gotten very little information as to, you know, where it started and things like that. But I'll pass an email along once I get that from them.
Okay.
Thank you.
But anyway, no, and but the thing that our chair, and who was a former sheriff, I do believe too, he said, put that number by your phone, you know, because if 911 doesn't work, you can dial 763-682-7600. The sheriff dispatch will answer, and you'll get your services, so.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all I have, Madam
That's
Chair.
all? Okay, Commissioner Vetch.
At the interest of time, so we have a lot of people waiting for us to come in there, I'm gonna pass. I'll do it next time.
Okay, and I also don't have any advisory updates.
And Madam Chair, nothing happened last week.
Okay.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
Mr. Glyden.
Well, since you guys give me all this extra time,
Yeah, you, minus 1 minute.
no.
No.
In the interest of time, I'll pass.
Mr. Kelly?
Well, Kelly is much more
Yeah,
important than I am.
I would say I'll pass as well, so.
All right. Well, we'll see you at leadership.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Nothing else to come before the board. We are adjourned at 10:31. Leadership 1 minute ago.
All right.